Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Shelfie. This time I am with Janet H. Swinney, and we're going to be hearing something from her short story collection, The House with Two Letterboxes, which is available through Fly on the Wall Press. Let me tell you a little bit about Janet. She grew up in a mining community near Chesterley Street, County Durham, which of course we know well. And she was the first person in her family to go to university. The composer Naresh Sohal was her partner for many years. She worked in post-16 education, ultimately as an inspector, but was always interested in writing fiction. Her stories have appeared in print anthologies and online journals across the UK, India, and the USA, so internationally published. And her work has also been listed in many competitions, ranging from Fish to Fabula via Ilkley's, that sounds interesting, and the London Short Story Prize, and the Commonwealth Writers' Prize. And she was a semi-finalist in the USA's Screencraft Cinematic Short Story Competition in 2018, and a finalist in 2020. I love the idea of having a competition that looks at the cinematic qualities of short stories. And in fact, if you have a little look through Crossing the T's social media, you'll see that we have a link to a short film that has been made of one of the stories in this collection. So please do check that out. There's obviously cinematic qualities to the writing. The House with Two Letterboxes is set entirely in the Northeast and is her second collection of short fiction. So the book is a series of gritty, witty tales exploring the resilience of people from the working class mining communities of the Northeast, a place where life may be tough, but where help can sometimes come from unexpected quarters. So there are dark themes laced with humour. It is an adults only book, but I believe we do have a suitable for all extract that Janet is now going to read for us. Janet, I'm going to put you on pen and please take us away with some story.
So I'm going to be reading from a story called Tenterhooks. And the central character is Norman, a disabled man who lives next door to a couple called the McTierneys. And Norman has no nose and he's wheelchair bound, but I won't reveal any more about his disabilities because these play a role in the story. And Norman and the McTierneys can hear each other through the wall where their chimney breasts meet, especially when during the summer months the fires are not lit. So one evening he hears something happening next door. The row had started round about 8 o'clock, after the bairns had been put to bed, with Bridgette McTierney sobbing. It was a low, plangent crooning that made Norman feel queasy. It went on for an age until Brendan McTierney had had enough of it too. "Stop your racket," he yelled. "There's no point." "But she's my sister," moaned Bridgette. "I can't not go to her wedding." "Well, what do you expect me to?" "But," Bridgette moaned some more. "Do what you bloody well please. You know I won't be going." "Please, Brendan. Did you not see the way the little hoyt—" "Don't talk about my sister like that. Airs and graces coming over here. Come on the bus like anybody else. On a Sunday from Jesmond? Are you daft?" "Don't you dare call me daft." But evidently Bridgette did dare, because just afterwards came the sound of chairs scraping on the floor and a bump or two, leading Norman to think that Brendan had delivered Bridgette a clout. At any rate, the sound of Bridgette's distress changed and became a whimpering. Things were subdued until Norman had served himself a supper of pork cheek and pickled onions. Then they picked up again in a different vein. There was some low muttering from Bridgette then. Use your common sense, woman. How the hell do you think outfits for the pair of us and 3 small bairns? You've got till October. October? That's no time away. Can you not get it through your head, woman? Money's tight. Bridgette lost her patience. Do you think I don't know money's tight? I'm the one who has to lie to the rent man. I'm the one who daren't show her face in the store. I'm the one trying to make ends meet. Aye, and judging by the slop you put on this table every day, you're not making a very good job of it. Bridgette made a sound like a wailing siren. Not my fault. Ever since your business. Aye, gan on, bring that up again. Everybody in the place knew that Brendan had lost his job at the butcher's for stealing. He stole everything, from pies to chops, legs of lamb to sides of pork. You could see him coming home every Wednesday and Saturday without fail, with a fat parcel tucked smugly under his arm. Once the butcher got wise to it, that was the end of the matter. Brendan was had up at court and was served a sentence. Pork purloiner gets the chop, the headline on the Chronicle read. He was smiling on the other side of his face after that. You were bloody lucky my sister asked you at all, Bridgette snarled. You don't deserve it. Now there was a more prolonged scuffle, the clatter of crockery falling to the floor and the thump of things falling over. The dog started to yap out in the back kitchen, and upstairs one of the bairns began to howl. Norman cleared away his supper things and dumped them in the sink. It was a sweltering night, and what with the heat and the disturbance next door, it would be a long time before he could get any sleep. There was something up there last night, said Mrs. Leggett, nodding at the houses opposite. She'd done her washing early. The clothes were already on the line and she had her hat and scarf on, ready to go out. Oh, said Blanche, who was standing on the step next door, nursing her newborn baby. Oh, yes. Our Sydney said when he came down the road you could hear voices raised. It'd be to do with the folks who were there in the afternoon, I'll bet, said Blanche. She continued wrestling the baby, who was the size of a small prize fighter, about her chest. That was her parents and her younger sister, said Mrs. Leggett, folding her arms and settling in for a lengthy discussion. They're from somewhere far by the town moor. He has a big job in the yards, our Sydney says. It was a big come down for them when their Bridgette ended up with him. But then she was no better than she ought to be. Blanche nodded. Everybody knew that Bridgette had fallen pregnant by Brendan before they were married, but there was no harm in airing a well-known truth once again. I wonder what they wanted, Blanche said. Whatever it was, it'll have caused an argument, I'll warrant. Further speculation was halted when the door opposite opened and Bridgette shot out with a scarf tied over her hair. That'll be her off to work. Good morning, Bridgette, Mrs. Leggett shouted. Bridgette glanced quickly in their direction. Morning, she called, and skedaddled off down the street. Did you see that? What? Said Blanche. If I'm not mistaken, he's given her a bonny good clip. Has he? Aye, she's got the scarf on to try and cover it up, said Blanche, and her with another one on the way as well. What can you expect, spat Mrs. Leggett. Catholics.
Amazing. Thank you, Janet. Thank you so much. How much incredible detail and colour and such recognisable dialogue. And also, I loved the newspaper headline. Pork purloiner gets the job.
I tell you what, that is a truth. As
Really?
reported by somebody to me, yes. And the other thing I should say, of course, that Norman now rides into the breach to help out the McTierneys with their problem.
Amazing. That's so fantastic. And what beautiful writing as well. I love the low plangent crooning of right at the beginning of her crying. What a great phrase that is. Thank you so much for sharing that piece of writing with us. And now what I'd like to ask you, just to round us off, is whether you can recommend a book to us, anything that you've been reading recently that you think people should know about.
Yes, I'm going to recommend Louise Kennedy's short story collection, The End of the World is a Cul-de-sac. Are you familiar with this?
I don't know this one. Why have you enjoyed that so much?
Okay. Louise is an Irish writer, and her stories are set in rural or small town Ireland. Women are centre stage. The women are immediately recognisable. They're women who are dealing with the demands of their own bodies, pregnancy, menstruation, postnatal depression, abortion, but at the same time as dealing with what on the whole is the poor behaviour of men. So that's the central theme, that most men don't really get it with women. So they underestimate them, humiliate them, and ultimately abandon them. Having said that, it's not bleak reading. She's a mistress of the gradual the gradual reveal. So she doesn't trumpet things like it's 1982 and this is happening. She just feeds in an occasional detail, a significant detail here and there, and then it all comes together at the end in what is sometimes a devastating conclusion.
That's amazing.
Yeah, there's one exception to this theme, and it's about the role of a young woman in the Troubles in Northern Ireland. In Ireland, and it's so cleverly told. It's a masterpiece. I would say that each of these stories is a novel's worth of writing, actually.
Fantastic. Yeah. Fantastic recommendation. Thank you so much, Janet. We'll make sure that book is flagged up with links on this clip and on our website. And thank you so much for being my guest on A Shelfie.
You're very welcome. Thank you very much. Really enjoyed it.